Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Morning Brief with your host, Tone Vase. And I am joined today by Jimmy Song. We had a bunch of miscommunications this morning. Leah was supposed to be on. She found the stories. Thank you so much, Leah. Unfortunately, you are unable to join us because you spent the last 24 hours moving apartments. And we kind of kicked off the show later than we were supposed to. But Jimmy, hey, thanks for joining me. And it should still be a good show. We haven't done one of these in a while. How you been?
No, we haven't. It's been a really long time, and it's fun to be back. Obviously, we've been doing the conference tour and stuff like that. You're still in Europe or something, I think, or are you
I'm
in
in
Thailand?
Thailand now.
Okay, wow, crazy. But yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks. We got a lot of different stories to cover. So yeah, let's kick it old school.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's go to screen share. I will drive on this one. And interesting, where's my article screen? That's weird, hold on. It's been a while since I've done this. Oh, here it is, got it. All right, I only did it yesterday for my trading show. But yeah, we got about 200 people watching. So here we go. We're gonna kick off with actually your article. You wrote Lord Kayns would be proud. I mean, I've been waiting for this article. You sent it to us for like a proofread like a week ago. You're usually faster than this. Were there major edits since the version that I read or no?
There were some edits, but I mean, just like phrasing and things like that. But mostly it's arguing about how a lot of these people want, like, well, I tweeted that thing about credit cards, basically saying that if you want to use it as a method of payment, this is much more efficient and it'll save you money. And I got such a hateful reaction from the Bitcoin Cash people. I think at one point I was like the top 7 posts on our BTC or something like that, just like in one way or the other. And this article is basically talking about why are they so angry? You know, because I'm trying to save them money, and they seem to not like it. Even some Bitcoiners were telling me that I'm a retard or something like that. I'm like,
yeah. It's amazing.
Rational.
Yeah, no, your theory made perfect sense. Like your viewpoint with the credit cards made perfect sense. And I've been telling people, I've been writing about this since 2014. This is not a new concept. I mean, this was the smart way of thinking even back then when I wrote that article saying that if PayPal was to integrate Bitcoin, it would be a complete disaster for the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the ability to, like, I don't think it's quite as important as people seem to think, or I don't know. There's like a religious zeal around, using it as a method of payment, which I really don't think Bitcoin is. It's a store of value. It's the reason why people buy it is because it's scarce and it's digital and it's easy to secure, or at least relatively speaking. And that's I lay out the facts and everything, and the amount of hate I've gotten over that tweet was just absolutely mind-boggling. So I went through, explored it, basically make the argument that a lot of these people are sort of putting the cart before the horse, right? Like they want merchant adoption and think that that's the way to prosperity. But you have to think about exactly why a merchant would actually want to integrate Bitcoin. If it's to actually store it like you or I do, then that makes sense. But if it's not, if it's just to pass it through and sell it right away, then that's something very different. So I make that distinction in the article. I talk about it. I was just very shocked that giving, like, basically stating the facts and getting the kind of reaction that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also being bombarded by stupid people that don't know how to trade on all over Twitter because of a trade that I made for the first time this year. And these people are all over the place. I will add, Now, people, please go and read this article. It's a really, really good article that Jimmy wrote. It's basically explaining why BCH is not only is it a Keynesian currency, because they basically inflated the supply of Bitcoin out there, thinking it's the real Bitcoin. They are way more centralized, so they can easily change the number of Bitcoins in circulation. They can easily raise that from 21 million to whatever they like because they're way more centralized. And their economic understanding of how Bitcoin Cash, or Bcash, as I like to call it, should be used is actually Keynesian. And if it's actually used in the way they want it to be used, they will have to alter the protocol to create infinite inflation because that's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I made that argument in another article about how if you don't have enough subsidy and you keep the fees very low, something has to give. You either have to change the inflation schedule, which means making it go becoming a central bank basically, or you have to increase fees. Otherwise, no one is motivated to actually mine. So I don't know. It's kind of this disaster waiting to happen, and we know that they're probably going to split in about a month or so with Bitcoin Satoshi's vision or whatever. So I don't know. This feels like the dying embers of a movement that's been trying this for like the last 5 years, and nobody really uses it this way. Very, very few people do anyway, other than maybe dark markets or foreign remittances.
Yeah. So there's a couple of observations that I've been making so far as the Bcash community. I was devolves. I was about to use the wrong word and say evolves. So the Bcash community is devolving, and here are two major things I've noticed. No matter how many times I've told people that I sold all of my Btrash on the second week of existence because it didn't stay at my anticipated target of $1, people continue to ask me how much Bcash am I holding, as if it's my backup plan for something. Because obviously all of them are holding Bitcoin, so they have this delusion that Bitcoiners like myself are actually holding Bcash as an alternative, which is which means that a lot of them are delusional. Here's the other thing that I'm noticing is that I was when I was in Amsterdam, I was debating some guy about Bcash, total waste of my time. They run a crypto hedge fund. They're holding all of this garbage, and they don't hold Bitcoin. So they don't believe in Bitcoin, but they believe in everything else, and that's what they're holding in their crypto hedge fund. So that crypto hedge fund's going to zero, obviously. But what I've noticed in the crowd, there were a fair number. I mean, the Bcash community managed to infiltrate Amsterdam. And some of them are getting very violent. Like they're getting very violent in their arguments. They're getting very in your face. It really does have that Keynesian socialist, feel where I know the right way. And if you don't do it my right way, I will force you to do it. Have you noticed that? They're getting more and more violent and more like aggressive.
I think we both saw that at the cruise, right? With Roger. Yeah. He's like ambushing people with a camera and stuff. It's just
right.
I don't know, man. It's getting kind of crazy. And tyranny is the natural result of policies that people don't want to follow. So that's kind of what's happening.
Like I'm really noticing it, and it's meanwhile people like myself and yourself, we're trying to ignore Bcash more and more, and the more we ignore it, the more violent and in your face the Bcash people become.
Indeed.
All right, well, for a follow-up on this, and it's a really long article from Ugly Old Goat, I'm not even halfway through it because I'm a slow reader, but please check it out. Like from what I've read, it's really good. I'm about to get to the really good stuff. Have you seen this video between Charlie and Roger? I have not. But
I've heard about it, but I haven't actually watched it. There were people telling me about how they made a bet about 1,000 Lightning stores in a year or something like that. The thing about Roger is he does like this. It's very typical of his debate style. He just ignores what Charlie says and goes on his talking points, which is exactly what every politician does. Yeah, that's my impression of what happened in this debate.
Okay, so this is interesting actually, right? So during Roger's presentation on the cruise, and I watched both Charlie's and Roger's presentation. So Roger put up this slide. So basically, these are all of his points, things that make Bitcoin Bitcoin. And this is all opinion, right? Whether our current Bitcoin still has these things or doesn't, and whether Bcash has these things or doesn't. This is all opinion. However, look at the last one. The last one, Roger admits that Bitcoin is the longest chain with the most proof of work. But that's the only one that matters, right? Like,
that's the only actual innovation. Yeah.
Right,
everything else,
so everything above the last line is properties because of this last thing. And this is all opinion, whether Bitcoin matches it or Bcash matches it, right? But the last one is scientific. And the last one is the innovation. And the last one is what matters. Like nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's the only way you get Byzantine fault tolerance. That's how you get, like digital scarcity. Everything else is all much better done in a centralized system. So it's kind of hilarious that he does that. I think I saw a tweet by Whale Panda when he first tweeted this out. Things that make Roger or something like that. It was hilarious. It's like Roger's actually not Roger. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Bitcoin's innovation, and that brings us to Liquid. The Liquid network. I didn't even know it was called a network. I thought it was like the Liquid box. I guess it's turned into a network.
It was always a network. It was always a sidechain, and that was their plan all along.
I thought it was a box. I thought it was like this box with thermite in it.
That's only from Mike and Space's Bitcoin car talk or whatever.
No, it's actually not. It's actually I know exactly where that came from. It was they were building a box to secure Bitcoin, but they weren't sure how it was actually going to be secured. And one of the suggestions was to put thermite in the box, so that if anyone tries to mess with the box, it burns all the Bitcoin.
Or at least the private key that holds it or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So it looks like they've added a lot more exchanges. I read the press release. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still a little confused as to what this is. I have a general concept of what it is, and it's a way for exchanges to share liquidity while keeping Bitcoin secure and not at risk of any exchange stealing the Bitcoin. That is my general understanding, in which case it's a good thing. I opened up, read more about read more about Liquid, but I really can't see much detail in these bullet points. So I really need like a real paper, and I don't know if I have time for that. So I really got to get somebody from the Liquid project to fully explain this. It just sounds like a good way for exchanges to share liquidity. But if Bitfinex is on the Liquid sidechain, and Bitfinex is on it, is Bitstamp on it? I don't see Bitstamp on it.
No, but BitMEX is.
BitMEX isn't price discovery, right?
No, BitMEX, the one after that.
Right, but they're not. What the hell is BitMEX?
I don't know.
Right, well, BitMEX is not price discovery, so that doesn't really matter. I don't understand why they need liquidity, because they're not. I guess they do if they're if they don't liquidate the contracts properly, but like they shouldn't need it, right? Because they're not selling anybody Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin from people. But if Bitfinex is in this system, why are they so illiquid, right? I know it's the Tether thing, right? But they could source extra Bitcoin. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good thing. it shows, functionality of the Bitcoin network. But like I said, I don't know if you know. I know this isn't my area of expertise, but I just have not read the technical spec on this, so I'm still. Okay, I'll let you comment, and I'll try to explain it one more time to the people.
Yeah, so the way this works is that Liquid is what you would call a federated side chain. So basically, the 20 however many peers, they're the nodes on the network, and it's based on signing and so on. And it's really for them. It's so that if you have an account on Bitfinex and want to move your Bitcoins to BitMEX, you don't have to use the main chain to do it. You could use the side chain to do it. So you get instant transfer between these exchanges, and that's the idea. If you allow really fast transfers between these entities, then you should have liquidity between them. So anyone that wants to arbitrage between the price at BitMEX versus Bitfinex or Coin1 or whatever, they can transfer back and forth, at least the Bitcoin part, really quickly, and that makes it so that the prices will equalize very quickly instead of it taking. I think there was like a 40% premium in Korea at one point last year, and you can see a few of the Korean exchanges there, Coin1 and Corbit. Kind of surprised that Bithumb isn't on there, but that's the idea, is that you have this liquidity pool that people can utilize to go back and forth between the exchanges if you have accounts on all of them. The interesting thing is that this is a sidechain project. So any Bitcoins entering into the sidechain is done through a multi-sig address, and in order to get it out, you need to pull it out through by having I think a super majority of the 23 participants or something like that, sign it out and back onto the main chain. Eventually, I think they're planning on some sort of ability to insert money into the side chain, like as an individual instead of one of these entities, in which case you can do some really interesting things on top of that. The nice thing about Liquid is that it has confidential transaction stuff. This is obviously what Greg Maxwell worked on for a long time. This is a lot of what Monero uses for their confidential transactions. So within the Liquid network, nobody knows exactly how much is being transmitted. But only the amounts that come in can go out because the two-way peg sidechain. So that means if you deposit 20 Bitcoins into the sidechain, then you can only get 20 out. Or if the sum total of deposits to the sidechain are 100, then only 100 can come out. So there's no inflation risk or anything like that. But within the Liquid network, it's all confidential. So that means that the amount and asset type are transferred are unknown, which is another interesting thing. They have issued assets, so you can have tokenized fiat. So you may be able to. I think this is this may be Bitfinex's play into this, is that if you want to transfer Tether between exchanges, that's also really fast too. The nice thing is within the sidechain, the transfers are super quick. It's like on the order of seconds instead of 10 minutes or 30 minutes or however many confirmations that you need. So it's a really interesting idea, and they do have a Liquid Bitcoin which is two-way peg to Bitcoin, but they have additional assets that people can trade in between these exchanges, so that you can bring Tether from one to the other and so on.
Yeah, so I'm looking at. I need to read their white paper. Like I said, I read it like 2 years ago when it was first announced, and I don't remember all that much of it because I haven't really kept up with the project. I need to read the latest paper, but so it's not actually going to be Bitcoin, right? I mean, they're going to have their own like a one.
No, it is. It's two-way peg to Bitcoin, so it should trade at the same thing unless like confidential transactions is broken or something.
Yeah, we'll see. And the good thing is
fully back Bitcoin.
Right. So it's not actually going to be Tether because Tether is built on some, on some crazy Omni protocol. But the next time,
Bitcoin, so you can also transfer those into the liquid sidechain.
Right, but then why wouldn't you skip one more layer of potential, problems and go directly to this sidechain to build your next stable coin on top of?
Yeah, so that might be, I think, what they're thinking. And certainly, if you have a stable coin that a lot of all these exchanges use, then you can go rapidly back and forth, and then the prices should all equalize very quickly.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, the price of on Bitfinex is still unreasonably high compared to the other exchanges. So clearly, they're not utilizing the system yet.
Well, that's because they're pegged to Tether, isn't it? Like they say one Tether's worth $1. Everyone else is saying Tether's worth 95 cents. So
right,
that premium is entirely explained away by the Tether peg.
All right, so I'll try to find the time and read their white paper. But I mean, it looks like it's progress. It's great technological progress. But yeah, I mean, but we have no doubt in our minds. Again, I am a huge fan of Blockstream, so anything that comes out of that incubator, I'm happy with.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think an innovation. It's a different security model. Obviously, it's federated. It's not decentralized. Those are two different things. But yeah, I mean, the fact that you have options is a good thing. And if the market wants it, they'll use it. If they don't, then they won't. And that's the beauty of it.
All right. So our next story is Fidelity says it will trade Bitcoin for hedge funds, and I mean, you would think this would be bullish news, but I mean, the market didn't budge. And reading through this Wall Street Journal article, basically, they're opening an OTC desk for hedge funds, and they're going to be a custodian for the Bitcoins that a hedge fund doesn't want to take, responsibility of holding. This was one of the things that I'm surprised the SEC and the CFTC is giving Fidelity the go-ahead here because the consequences could be very, very, drastic if they screw up being a custodian of the Bitcoin, because securing your Bitcoin is one of the hardest things to do on the planet right now, trying to keep your Bitcoin safe. But hey, if Fidelity has a green light from the regulators to be this middleman for hedge funds, if they want to buy Bitcoin, that's great. And if they want to hold on to that Bitcoin, I guess that's good as well. But again, that's a giant centralized honeypot regulated by the government. So this is my argument against the ETF. To me, this is it bullish or bearish for the price of Bitcoin? It's neutral for the price of Bitcoin because the price of Bitcoin is in a bear market, and it will remain in a bear market until the bear market ends. And news stories like this are completely unaffected to the current trend in the market. Now, from a long-term perspective, is it good or bad for Bitcoin? I can make the argument on both sides. The good news is that as these stories come out, it means that Bitcoin is becoming more and more legitimized. Makes it very difficult for the government to deem Bitcoin illegal. Makes it very difficult for the government to try to confiscate your Bitcoin with the approval from the financial sector, using it as a tradable asset or an investable asset. On the flip side, it could mean a large concentration of Bitcoin in the hands of a single entity controlled by the government. So if the government did decide to confiscate it, they can do it with one phone call and take away the Bitcoin from all of these hedge funds and Fidelity itself. So it's a double-edged sword. Hopefully we'll all get rich and buy our Lambos before the latter happens, if the latter happens. Your thoughts, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, we know that people are trying to figure out the custody stuff, and it sounds like Fidelity is making steps in the right direction. The problems come in not just on Bitcoin. It's really with the other altcoins because multi-sig on Ethereum is so horribly difficult and things like that. So I imagine that this is this is Fidelity's way of getting their toe in the water or something like that. It's good in one sense, but you're absolutely right. This is a very centralizing thing. And if all of the Bitcoins are sitting in one place, very easy for the government to come and seize it. So the idea of Bitcoin is that you're sovereign over your own money. So you should keep your own private keys. Hedge funds and VC funds and all these that have interest in putting it on all of those. It's nice for them, but it doesn't really affect the retail investor, I don't think, at all.
All right, and let's move on to our final story, and this is the one that has been affecting our price. Let me close all of these, and I'm going to move this one over. Okay. And this is the Tether, right? This is the whole Tether nonsense that took place about, I don't know, a day and a half after I entered my short trade, which was, fitting. And so Tether, this is not the first time people expected Tether to implode. I believe this one started because Binance, an exchange that I have been calling fraudulent since the day I've heard about it, because of their ICO scam token. Because Binance decided to delist Tether because they have their own Tether. They have their own, Chinese knockoff of Tether called TrueUSD. It's just like Tether, only Chinese, but registered in Malta. Because if they registered in China, their company would be shut down. And because they're registered in Malta, it doesn't mean they still can't be shut down. That can easily be done with a phone call from the US government to the EU, and then EU will reroute that phone call and tell Binance to go to another jurisdiction or shut it down. Now, we will see what happens there. I think a lot of exchanges are at risk. I think the US government is going to start to take this stuff seriously. The US government wants this stuff in Fidelity. They want this maybe even in Gemini. Coinbase seems to be, playing footsie with all the regulators. They want this to be traded on a regulated exchange. So if you're an unregulated exchange, you're going to have a problem with the US government, unless you are in a country where the US government can't do anything because that country has a military that can compete with the US government. So unless you are in China, which you can't be now, or in Russia, which you probably don't want to be in to do this kind of thing, you're basically at the mercy of the US government if they want to do something. It's just that simple. Sometimes things are that simple. So we enjoy it while it lasts, and Bitcoin itself doesn't care, and we'll see what happens. So Tether had a scare. It looks like Tether is back. Where is my chart of Tether? Here's Tether. So Tether is slowly creeping back up. It had a 9 on the sequential, so it should start to go back to the upside. Tether is still trading at 4.5% below par. So Tether is at 5% discount, but yet the price of Bitcoin on Bitfinex versus other exchanges is only actually not only, it's actually 10% over. So the price on Bitfinex is too much. Is it 10%? Hold on. Oh, it's not 10%. It's 5%. 10%.
So it's exactly the amount.
Yeah, it's exactly the amount. Yeah, I just don't have the right scale here. So it's about right. They're about 5% over par. And what I've talked about in prior videos is that every time Bitfinex had some kind of a shit show with Tether, the price of Bitcoin on Bitfinex swung in the opposite direction. So here, it was actually trading at 10% above stamp, and then it was trading at 8% or 7% under stamp. And then here it went above stamp, then it went under. Here it went above stamp, it slightly went under. So every time it goes above stamp, it always reverses and goes under stamp. And these two happened in a bull market. This one happened at the end of the bull market, and this one happened in a bear market. So this is completely independent. It's uncorrelated. We're in a bull and a bear markets. Right now, we're in a bear market. I expect it to swing the other way as people move that Bitcoin out of Bitfinex and sell it on other exchanges. And that's my view. Your thoughts on, well, one last thing, sorry. We've always said, look, we have no idea if Tether is or isn't backed by actual dollars. My point has always been that it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether Tether is or isn't backed by actual dollars, because at any given moment, the US government can show up and take the underlying dollars if they exist. And if they don't exist, it might actually be even better, okay? Because then the US government can show up and take the dollars that don't exist. So I can make the argument both sides. What I do know is, and I've said this before, I've said it before, that when Tether crashes, the price of Bitcoin should rise, not fall, because people will sell their Tether at any cost and move it into Bitcoin. Now, with the rise in all this competition for other confiscatable stable coins, Tether will just become less relevant as these other coins become more popular, and the system will just get the risk would kind of get spread out. So then we go back to the normal environment, which to me is a bearish environment. Jimmy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like somebody panic sold on Tether. Somebody knows something, and whether it was a large holder of Tether, I guess, or somebody else. I thought that was what caused the spike real quick, is people trying to get out of Tether into Bitcoin, and that caused it to go up a few $100s pretty quickly. At this point, I don't really know. I think you're gonna probably talk about it during your price analysis. But there's a lot of competition coming for stable coins. I mean, it's an interesting business model, because if you're fully backing it, really you're just relying on interest to cover all of the risk, I guess, or the premium on having to do all of the deposits and withdrawals and stuff. And Tether apparently has like billions of dollars in there, so that's not a small amount of interest. Even if you're getting like 1 or 2%, that's like $10-20 million. That's a lot of money, and that can I guess cover a lot of the administrative processes around this stuff. So not a surprise that a lot of these.
It's actually a lot better than that, right? Because if all of the Tether money is actually at a bank, and Tether is at a 5% discount, Bitfinex knows that the money is there. You're selling them their Tether at 5% discount. They will go and redeem the Tether. You are handing Bitfinex 5% on $1 billion if the money is actually there. And this is why
it's not clear how you redeem it either.
They can redeem it because they own it, right? I mean, Bitfinex owns Tether; they can redeem it and take the money, right? If they'll go out, they will buy cheap Bitcoin on other exchanges. They will sell you that Bitcoin on their exchange, take the Tether back from you, and redeem it to themselves from the bank. And
well, I mean, that's what they should do. Why hasn't that arbitrage window closed then?
Well, I think it has been closing. 5%. Remember, people, got their panties in a bunch when there was like a $300 million withdrawal from Tether. Like somebody redeemed 300 million Tether, and everyone is like, "Oh my God, Tether's collapsing." No,
wait, they redeemed it. I thought it was. I've only seen it go the chart go up. I don't know. I haven't studied it in a while, but
I thought it went down. Hold on, let me see.
I haven't seen the supply of Tether ever go down.
Tether. I thought I saw that. I mean, I was looking for the tweet. I mean, maybe CoinMarketCap.
Yeah. So if you click on that, it'll at least give us the circulating supply. Total supply.
Yeah, right there. Oh, that's the market. Yeah, right there. No, wait. Hold on. No, wait. That's not it.
That's also the market cap.
God damn. Where's the supply? Market cap price.
Volume. Yeah, well, it looks like there was at least a little bit of a dip before. So right in market cap, and it was at $1, so it must have been redeemed before that. Yeah, there's a couple of dips there.
I can swear I heard about the redemption and it caused the panic, right? Right here.
Okay.
You see that?
No.
You see that big dip in market cap?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was a redemption. And I think this was another bigger redemption right here. And but the price had already started to go down. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitfinex decided to take 1% off the table, because if the money is actually there, man, they should be buying all of their Tether back and just redeeming it and taking the money. They can always,
and that's a lot of money.
they can always use more Tether.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a decent business model. No surprise there that a lot of other players are coming in, because there's just so much money if you can shave like 1% per year just by digitizing it. Because the people that own USD Tether or True USD or Paxos Coin or whatever, all of those people aren't getting any interest on their money, so they're in a sense, getting a nice arbitrage opportunity at the risk of, regulatory stuff coming in. So, very interesting stuff. We're getting into this very digital only realm. I imagine this is good for liquidity in some ways, but it also adds systematic risk because governments can seize these cash hoards, basically.
Yeah, it really would be nice if their transparency page would show you all of the creation and destruction of Tether. Good job, Tether, with your transparency page.
Yeah. Well, you got the issuing addresses.
Maybe it's this. Maybe it's this.
Yeah. I believe this is a multi-sig. Yeah. Available balance, reserve balance. This is well, anyway, if you can redeem Tether, you probably are doing it right now, just because you can get 5% for free. We'll see if that changes.
Right. Anyway, I'm not the expert here. Bitfinex has been on all over it, so we'll see what happens. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna have to go, but it was great having a show with just you again. That it's been a long time. Yeah, I don't think you've had one of these shows in a couple of weeks, so it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, before you go, our conference.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Unconfiscatable conference. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna start building out the Carnivory dinner website probably next month. So that will be all ready to go. There you are, Jimmy. You're going to be sitting at a table playing against Doug Polk, buddy.
I can't believe it. That's going to be pretty crazy.
You may not sit at his table, right? Because if I can get 30 people to play in this game, we'll see. I'll give you first dibs on which table you play at. I want to sit at a table with Doug Polk. I owe him his money back. So I
want to sit at a table with a bunch of people that don't know how to play. That's what I want.
You do or you don't?
I do, because you
do. Okay.
Give me better chances.
I actually don't want to sit at a table with people that don't know how to play. I want to sit at a table with people that I want to sit at a table with Doug Polk.
I'd rather sit with him at the final table than earlier. I want to make the money.
So but yeah, people are registering for the general game. I will probably play in the general game as well. I need the practice unless I'm busy organizing the conference. Maybe Jimmy, maybe we can convince Jimmy to play in the ordinary game as well.
I think I'm running my seminar during that time, no?
Oh, you are. You're right. Yeah. No. Your seminar is the day after.
Okay. Possibly. I don't know if well, we'll see. We'll
see. I will try to play, and then my seminar is the following day, and so is Jimmy's. Tyler's is the day after my seminar, and we're gonna add a few more seminars here for you guys. Tickets are still on sale. This is the early price, 39 tickets left at this price, and we got more speakers coming. Oh, Max Kaiser has agreed. We're waiting for a picture of Max Kaiser here. So Max
Peter
Kaiser
Todd's there.
yeah, Peter Todd's
It's gonna be
already
a good
here.
conference.
Yeah, Peter Todd's here, Giacomo's here, Max Kaiser has agreed, and I'm trying to get commitments from other people. So there you go. You'll see another card of Max Kaiser. All right, Jimmy, I'm going to let you go, and hopefully we'll do this again soon, and it's price time.
Yeah, well, this song is done. You go and get the price, guys.
Bye, guys. All right. I'm going to, before we do price, let's head over to tonebase.com. Let's see how the workshops are doing. I want to sell out Chiang Mai. Two people. Come on. Chiang Mai is beautiful, by the way. I'm really enjoying my time here. I walked around all day today. Singapore is next. Then I'll spend a bunch of time in Australia. And then it's conference time in Vegas. Hey, guys, if you like my podcast, please support via affiliate codes if you're going to use these companies anyway. And I'm going to add a couple of more. Please do. Click on these links, and even the Amazon affiliates you are also welcome to use in order to support this channel. All right. I talked about the price last night. I haven't really looked at the price since then. Let's go and take a look. This is the monthly outlook. The monthly outlook has not updated tonight's price yet. We need still about half a day to go. There's not much to say about the monthly chart until next month. This month is still not finished. In order to keep this at a red 3, which it was a red 3 when I entered my trade, in order to keep this at a red 3, we would need a close below $6,388. And I believe we will get that this month. So I still believe that this will close on a red 3, which makes next month very problematic. Hyperwave, nothing's changed. This is Gemini. I've changed exchanges because Bitfinex was ridiculous. I'm curious is if on Gemini in the 2014 bear market, oh wait, it didn't exist. See, this is the problem. This is the problem with new exchanges. You have no history. You have no history. That's unfortunate. Well, this really should be the index, actually. Let me try BLX here. Oh, what the hell is that? I hate that. I wonder if I can adjust the Bollinger Bands ever so slightly and get rid of that damn Bollinger Band gap. Or write my own Bollinger. Actually, I think I'm going to write my own Bollinger Band so that this insanity doesn't happen. Like cap it. Like cap this somehow. Let me see something here. I want to see how the stop and reverse points did on the index. Yeah, so as you can see on the index, the stop and reverse points broke and then broke back to the downside, and then we needed capitulation, and then eventually we broke back. So we broke the second down wave of Bollinger, of stop and reverse points. The second down wave broke in March of 2015. So we did not break that second wave until March of 2015. So this time around, we're not actually bullish according to this chart until we break the stop and reverse points. And that didn't happen till March in the last bear market, and we're only in October. So let's see how that goes. This is Bitstamp. Bitstamp hasn't moved in the last 24 hours or so, so nothing has changed. We are still in the descending triangle. I believe today is Wednesday. I am in Asia, so I'm about 12 hours ahead on this Wednesday. So you can also see the 50 or sorry, the 200-week moving average starting to roll over. And this is the 30-week moving average. And where's my 50? Oh, I'm sorry, that's the 50-week moving average. That makes way more sense. The 50-week moving average is rolling over. The 30-week moving average has been trending downwards and is going to be resistance. The 200-week moving average is very critical support. This is the support that I'm looking for. I hope that the bear market doesn't fall lower than 3,000. I am fairly certain, pretty damn certain, we're going to break down out of this triangle and hit 5,000. That's why I took the short trade. And if we get back to my entry point sometime in the next few weeks, I would double down on my short trade because I'm still expecting a breakdown from the triangle. There's still nothing wrong with my short trade, and I have no reason to take it off the table. Here's the daily chart. I drew another arrow because I continue to expect a breakdown because I feel that the price of Bitcoin remains overbought. I just don't see what is Bitcoin being valued this high, especially after going to 20,000. There's nothing wrong with Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin. I live on Bitcoin, but I just think it's a little overvalued. And the charts are telling me to think that. Here is Bitfinex. We've broken out of this little descending triangle. And let's see if Bitfinex has one of these candles, which happens more often than anybody likes. We are on a red 2. This red 2 has not yet gone below a red 1. So it probably won't today, but maybe tomorrow there will be a red 3 below a red 2, giving you a daily short trade. But the daily chart has not been very good. Here's the 12. Wait, I'm sorry. That is the 12-hour chart. My bad. The 12-hour chart has been good, so I wouldn't mind taking that trade. The 4-hour chart has been nothing. It's the same exact triangle you saw there. I can redraw it on here as well. You draw your best fit line. This triangle is actually coming to an end here. This triangle needs to break down soon, according to charts, right? This is the 4-hour chart, and it's telling me that the triangle is imminent. Is this a good enough position for me to double down on my trade? No, it's not, because if you look at the weekly chart has me in the middle of my triangle. So if I was to double down on my trade, I would only do it once my trade is profitable. So it has to get back to below my entry point, or I get a beautiful rejection of the trend line and moving average with a reversal candle or on a TD9. Now, clearly, there's no TD9 anywhere in the vicinity of the moving average and the top of the triangle. So the TD9 sell is not an option for me. So the only thing I have is a shooting star candle, but the shooting star candle needed to take place at a higher level, but it didn't. So I have no reason to double down at this time. The 1-hourly chart is just useless. Shorts are continued to be at record high according to Bitfinex. That's it. Once we cross this purple line, we are in a new frontier of leverage shorts versus leverage longs on Bitfinex. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means because volume, price is the most important thing to me. And price is telling me that we're going lower, despite the fact that there is an abundance of over leverage to the short side. I'm aware of it. I would rather trade the price than, because look, things can always get more overbought. things can always get more oversold. Just because something is at an extreme, it doesn't mean it can't get more extreme. The best lesson for that is if you listen to the gold bugs, since you were born, you would have never entered the stock market at any point during your existence on this planet. When in reality, the stock market continues to make new highs after new highs after new highs. So just because something is at an extreme, it doesn't mean it can't go more extreme. But when you have a descending triangle like this, I will trade it every time. I never felt the need to enter a trade because I was never as sure about a trade as I was on this trade. Now, it doesn't mean that I will be profitable on this trade. It just means that I was dealt pocket aces and I went all in. It doesn't mean that I'm going to win the poker hand. I was dealt an 11 against the dealer 6. I doubled down. It doesn't mean I'm going to win the blackjack hand, but the odds are in my favor. And the crypto Twitter is proven to me that the odds are in my favor because they don't understand the concept of a descending triangle, which is as basic of TA as you get. And there's nothing wrong with the basics. There's a reason why it's called basics, because it works. We already talked about Tether. The stock market. I believe the stock market is opened and we're pulling back a little bit. We're pulling back a little bit. We went up a lot yesterday off the 9. Like I said, the 9 gives you a 1 to 4 candle reversal, and then you reevaluate. If tomorrow is a red candle, then this bounce might be over. If we get back to the vicinity of prior lows, I will then become a bear on the stock market. Until we get anywhere near these lows, I am still optimistic on the stock market. Gold is telling me to be pessimistic on the stock market. I still think gold is going to new lows. I believe that this trend line is going to be hard to break. The moving average is going to be hard to break. I still think that gold is going to go sub 1,000 before this is over. AMD had a pretty, started off on a good day. It opened at the top, and it's been selling off as the market has been selling off. Now, I talked a lot about AMD yesterday. This is a green 2 trading above a green 1. Now, that is a bullish trade on the table. Now, the bullish trade should have been entered earlier, shouldn't wait that long in this particular case. Now, I would say if AMD goes below this low, it is no longer bullish. But for now, you can't assume that it's going to go past that blue line. And you have a green 2, you're above the 9, you reversed up the 9. The only other thing is you got to be real careful of a 1 to 4 candle correction and then continuation of the downside. So if you go below this blue line, AMD is probably in a lot of trouble, and then it's going significantly lower. So while I was very bullish AMD yesterday, I'm not anywhere near as bullish AMD today. Now, I said yesterday where you should have entered your trade properly, and that trade would still be profitable. If I did enter my trade at 10 a.m. yesterday, like I said I would have, and I showed you guys why, I would already have a break-even stop loss above that entry because I would not let this trade cost me money. And I would always go back in if the stop loss is hit, and then you go up from here. There's nothing interesting here. Facebook still looks good, looks more bullish than AMD. Amazon looks good, but again, I'm a little worried about Amazon. Talk about a different video. Netflix beat earnings. Nice. Netflix reported crushed earnings, but the market is down, so they're down. I think this is a good sign for the stock market. Netflix kicks off earnings season for tech, and this could reverse the market. I'm still slightly more bullish than bearish S&P 500. Nah, nothing's interesting. Oh, this is that ETF thing. Oh yeah, I'm bearish this now. While yesterday looked bullish, you needed a green 2 above a green 1 to solidify it. You didn't get it. So if you were long off of all these arrows, you got to get out of this thing. You are back in the vicinity of lows. I am now looking for a brand new countdown. I think this thing is about to go down and go down in a hurry. No back test of the triangle. I am very bearish the home builders ETF at this point. I do need a trade entry though, and that trade entry would come tomorrow on a red 2 below a red 1. But it's coming up on a Friday, and I don't like to enter things on a Friday, so we'll see what happens. You need those perfect trades, guys. They don't come along all that often. Ford coming up on a 9, so I'll hold on to the chart. And Google looks exactly the same as the others. All right. From here, I am off to Singapore to speak at Crypto Expo. After that, I'll be in Australia. And after that, I'm going back to Singapore to speak at Block Show. Okay, so check out those conferences. We can close this stuff. And that's it. And we can close this article. And guys, if you like this video and you want to support, please check out the affiliate page on tonebase.com. And if you want to come to a Bitcoin conference, the Bitcoin Not Blockchain conference and Celebrity Poker Challenge. So there you go. Dark Poker's playing, Jimmy's playing, trying to get more players for a 1 Bitcoin buy-in celebrity game. If I can't get 30 players, then people that entered the satellite tournament that takes place 2 days earlier, where the top 3 finishers get a free entry into the celebrity game. If you want to pay an additional 0.9 and enter the big boy game from the start, I will open that up to maybe I'll auction off those seats. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But we still have time, plenty of time left to fill the seats. Here are the speakers. Here are the workshops. You guys know what to do. I'm tired. It's getting late here in Asia. And I was up to like past 3 in the morning yesterday. All right. Do I have any good questions? Thank you for your tip, Ronaldo. Thanks for the video. What broker would you recommend to a beginner for trading stocks and options? You know what? I use Interactive Brokers, but I hear TradeStation is the best broker. Is it the best broker for beginners? I don't know. I started out trading on Options Express. It had pretty high commissions, but it was a good broker for beginners. I then traded on MB Trading. I then traded on, I already forgot. Somebody bought MB Trading. I forgot what company bought them already. And then I switched to Interactive Brokers. And I'm just too lazy to learn a new platform. Everyone keeps telling me to go TradeStation, but I'm still on Interactive Brokers. How can you be bullish the market when the home builders are flashing housing bubble? Because the chart of the stock market is not scaring me yet, right? I mean, if you're good at technical analysis, you don't trust your feelings, you trust the price action. And while the home builders are down big, the stock market isn't that bad yet. So, okay, maybe they're just not building homes, right, like they used to. That doesn't mean that the market is ready to collapse. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It could also be, guys, my first attempt at trading, I didn't do very well because I was shorting the housing market nonstop between late 2015 and early 2017. So I spent an entire year shorting the housing market with put options. And when I finally ran out of money shorting the housing market, it collapsed. Okay. So just like on my trade here in Bitcoin, I was early back then, but I'm not wrong. I was just a little early. But this time around, now with 15 more years of experience in trading, I have much better money management skills and much better position size skills. Oh, I'm tired. Oh yeah, I gotta reach out to Nick Crypto Core. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. You play poker, dude. Yeah. You're welcome to play in the celebrity game. You definitely have enough followers for me to consider you a celebrity. So there you go. And guys, if other celebrities don't reply to my messages, I mean, I can't force people to play. I'm not a Bcash. I'm not in Bcash world, right? I don't force people to do what I want to do. You know, no. I would love to get. I'm not gonna drop names of who I invited to play in this thing, but if celebrities don't come to play in this thing, it will be open to the highest bidder, right? I'm looking at potential questions. Hi, Nick, I didn't know you were an admin of my YouTube channel. Cool. No, I didn't invite Suppleman. I have no idea who Suppleman is. I think he's a YouTuber. I'm not really familiar with his work. I've never seen any of it as far. I don't think I've seen any of it. Maybe I have. I have no idea. What is my opinion of Andy Hoffman? I don't have an opinion of Andy Hoffman. People are free to say what they like. Again, when all right, thank you for your tip, Andre. Thank you for the education. Besides a triangle, what trend pattern gives you a high probability to trade? Well, candlesticks, shooting stars, hammers, dojis, and the sequential system. Those are my top three: triangles, candlesticks, and sequential. And through all, you have to understand that all three of them can't actually line up, right? Like, it has to be 2 out of 3. It can't be all 3, because you can't have a breakdown from a triangle and a shooting star candle. It doesn't work that way, right? So it's triangle with sequential continuation, or reversal candlestick with sequential at a TD9. So it has to be 2 of them together. And I jumped the gun a little bit, anticipating a red 2 going below a red 1, breaking the triangle this week, because I didn't know if I was going to have computer connectivity for 3 to 4 days. So I jumped on my trade a little bit early. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Just means I jumped on a little bit early. I could be wrong, but there's nothing yet to tell me that I was, because this was all Tether. This wasn't some kind of mass adoption of Bitcoin. This wasn't Wall Street demand. This wasn't Bitcoin ecosystem demand. I'm not sharing screen again. It doesn't really matter. I could share screen. Like this candle, this up move, there was no natural demand for Bitcoin here. It was just Tether. And because it was just Tether, nothing has changed in my charting. It was just Tether. I've been to Hanoi a couple of times. I don't have time to go get a visa, unfortunately. If you want to know about Ravencoin, why don't you just Google Tone Vase Ravencoin? We did an entire show about Ravencoin. Bitcoin Law Review, Bruce Fenton. Right there. Right there. There's an entire show about Ravencoin. A whole 2 hours of it. And I don't know what your other coin is, so I'm not going to mention it. Yeah, Filicone, you're welcome to play in a celebrity poker tournament for 1 Bitcoin. You qualify as a celebrity. If you want to put up the Bitcoin for the game. There are cash prizes in that game. And it's organized by the casino, by the way. It'll be real dealers. We're not going to be dealing ourselves. It'll be, we're going to try to mic everybody up. It's going to be a nice, recording. And what else was I going to say? I don't remember now. Oh, and some of the money from the pot of that game is going to go towards Bitcoin development. I haven't used any. I'm not online. I've used taxis. I mean, I pre-negotiate the taxis, right? Like I haven't. I heard the Grab app is pretty good. I haven't used it yet. I have friends. I walk everywhere, guys. I don't really. A friend of mine picked me up from the airport. Thank you. I don't know if I should or shouldn't say your name. Like I haven't used any taxis yet in Chiang Mai. I used a taxi, to go between towns by Bangkok, but I arranged that with the hotel and then with the taxi driver herself. No, I'm trying to invite Bitcoiners. I haven't really. I'm not going to talk about who I did and didn't invite. If you guys want your favorite celebrity to play in that game, feel free to, ask them to ask me to play in that game. Like I can't reach out to everyone, right? I'm one person that has shit to do. I'm trying to invite people. I don't think Elon Musk has a relevance to blockchain. I don't know what he's ever said about blockchain. I have no idea. Is backed bullish or bearish for Bitcoin? No, it's neither. It's just like Fidelity. Backed is Fidelity. It's the same exact thing. These things always happen like together. Crypto twins. I don't know who the crypto twins are. Crypto twins live in Vegas. I don't know crypto twins. Yeah, I should invite Bruce Fenton. Bruce, if you're watching, you're welcome to play in the celebrity poker game. I'll probably text him. Anyone can register for the 0.1 game. It's the 1 Bitcoin game that I'm going to be a little selective. I'm planning to live stream the poker game. However, I've never done anything like this before. I also may, monetize the live stream with like 20 bucks or something. We'll see. Well, it's a no limit poker tournament, right? With a 1 Bitcoin buy-in. We're going to be using the the D Hotel blockchain and their stable coin known as poker chips. Haha, that's funny, Nick. How long do you think it may take for the Tether issue to resolve? I don't know. I don't have an estimate. The triangle should have broken down by now. I expected it to break down weeks ago. The bear market is dragging on. It's not a bullish sign by any means, guys. When the next moon happens, is the best way to cash out of Bitcoin is buying a Lamborghini? Maybe. I heard many banks may lock your account if you withdraw a large amount. Yeah, they might. Tone, do you see hash power going down anytime soon with the drop in price during the bear market? I don't think so. I think hash power will continue to rise. I'll ask Box Mining. I don't think he plays poker. I spoke to him the other day. I saw him at conferences recently. All right, guys. I think this is good. I'm gonna leave it here. These shows are usually shorter. I don't normally do Q&A. It's what Leah's for as well, to kind of stop me from doing this. I'm gonna call it a day. And I will see you all on the next one.